Now go to my good friend from Kentucky for any questions he might have for the panel.
I just have a quick question about the accredited investor definition. How will this expand opportunities for people to invest in things like startups and whatnot?
So right now we have the accredited investor standard says that based off of a wealth factor test, that means you're a sophisticated investor. That means nothing about, it actually says you're a sophisticated investor under securities regulation without knowing your level of sophistication. What we're doing is now opening opportunities for those that are sophisticated but not wealthy to invest in the private markets. What this would do is expand the opportunity for those that have some expertise to be engaged in those startup markets where we've had the highest level of growth of our full business sector or in the private markets. So it would give those investors the opportunity to invest because they are sophisticated. It's a new avenue. This is not a new idea, but instead of it being a wealth factor, it then gets into whether or not you actually know something about what you're investing in or know something about investing. There's a period of time that we would have a chair of the Federal Reserve not qualify as an accredited investor under the Securities and Exchange Commission definition because they were not independently wealthy. That's an absurd and I would dare say dumb standard for us to have. And I know the gentleman has been engaged in intellectual property and development of intellectual property and gone from being sophisticated in the subject matter that he's working on, but not qualified under the securities regulation. And so we want expertise to be the driver here, which I do think is better for consumer protection and investor protection in a significant way.
It probably is the case that I don't qualify as a sophisticated enough investor to invest in a technology startup, even though I've started one. And even though I have 30 patents in the field, I would not qualify under today's standards, most likely, because like you said, they're based on your wealth. And I always thought this, if there's one single reason to support this bill, this may be the best reason for me. And I think it's actually not a Republican versus Democrat thing, because what you're doing is you are allowing people at the lower end of the socioeconomic scale to invest in these opportunities that heretofore only multimillionaires could invest in. When I had my invention in college and started a company right in college, we went to the venture capital market. And then as it was taking off and doing fairly well, I had some friends who wanted to invest. And I had to tell them, I'm sorry, you're not a sophisticated enough investor under the rules. Even though this wasn't a company that we were going public with, we were offering an opportunity to invest in. Now, it's a high-risk investment. This is true. You're just as likely to lose everything as you are to get a 2x return. And generally, in these, I'm not saying in everybody's startup company, but across the field in tech companies, they are risky investments. But I always found it very unfair. As somebody who is middle class, has all their bills paid, doesn't have a lot of debt, and is looking to invest, they're considered not sophisticated enough to invest in one of these tech startups, but they can go buy a lottery ticket, right? Like, that is what we tell the people who don't have a lot of money in the bank. Go buy a lottery ticket. Maybe that'll work out for you. The lottery tickets are a tax on people who can't do math, okay? Whereas these investments in these tech startups, I think, and other startups, they don't have to be tech, but startups, I think it'll be good for not just the companies that are trying to get off the ground, but for the people, as long as they understand the risk, and that there is high risk, for them to make the kind of multiple returns on their money that these investment banks make, right? So I applaud you for making that part of the bill, and I'm glad to see that you're doing that, and I yield back.
Thank you very much. Gentlelady from Pennsylvania is